Whenever you see a woman performing exemplarily well at work, it's because she has a supporting system, especially those women who have children or they are married. They have people behind their back who help them achieve well, and these are the domestic managers. So, whenever you deny a woman an increase in salary, just know you're also denying a house help somewhere that small increment. Whenever you overwork or frustrate someone, you're also frustrating another chain of people. So, in today's discussion, I would like us to discuss the hiring process, the interview, the rights, what the house managers are entitled to, what are their working hours, because we cannot be complaining that our salaries have not been reviewed in the office, yet in the house, we don't recall the last time we reviewed our house manager's salary. We cannot be complaining of being overworked, yet we are giving our house helps excessive work that is not, they're not even supposed to be doing, just because they are desperate for a pay. So stay tuned and watch the video up to the end, and let me know, would you rather do career or you'd rather become a housewife? Hi guys, and what's up everyone? Welcome back to this amazing channel. You know what we do on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. We talk about work, career growth, the corporate workplace, salaries, working environment, and anything in between that help us to achieve for our employer. And today's video is all about the extension of the career woman. Because when you see one woman, just know there is a whole lot of other people behind her back. So my name is Lady Jane Star. Welcome to this family. If you are interested in matters to do with career, then this is the place to be. So consider subscribing, liking the video, and sharing me out on your Insta stories or even on your WhatsApp status, because we have to grow. At the end of this year, we have to get to 1,000 subscribers. And at the moment, we are at 366 subscribers, like a leap year. So I hope by the end of this video, we can get to 370. My growth is pole too, and I'm happy when I wake up and see a new subscriber. So the discussion, as I've mentioned, is all about our house managers, and this includes people who cook for us, the soldiers, people who drive our children to school, people who take care of our gardens, especially in the rural areas, people at the gate, or people who take care of our pets. Anyway, that is for the rich. And mostly here in Nairobi. Most people usually work 8 to 5 or 7 to 4, depending. So you can imagine the hassle of having a children, having a husband to take care of. Before you get to work, you prepare breakfast for them, you drop them to school, you iron your clothes, and every other day, your employer expects you to be in the office at the designated time. Can be quite a hassle, especially if you live in the urban areas where you have to commute and there is traffic involved. So you will experience burnout or fatigue if you have to do a lot of work just before you get to work. So as career women or a career man, we are forced to get people to assist us. People who will help us cook, people who will help us wash our clothes. If you see me clean in the office, maybe someone washed my clothes, someone ironed my clothes. I had breakfast in the house because there's someone who was assisting. Or I'm able to report in good time because I didn't have to stop by waiting for the school bus to come pick my child to school. Or even the house managers also act as our guards. I don't have to keep getting worried about my house or my clothes will be rained on while I'm in the office. So these people really help us, and for them to perform well, and for us to also perform well, both of us have to be aligned. The working environment has to be conducive, both in the house and in the office. And so I would like us to discuss. It's just a talk. I'm not advising you on anything. But as a career woman, you need to treat your house managers well. So we'll have a small discussion. I'd also like to have your inputs on the same. So the first thing is on salaries. I think salary is usually the elephant in the room in any work, not only at home, not only in the office, even for casuals, even in the government. What we take home, the paycheck, is the main thing that makes us work. So how much is enough? I think there's an act of a parliament or a labor role, labor, where labor, Kikuyu haitaniruhusu niseme kitu nataka kusema, but there is a role that governs the minimum wage for workers, and that is 5,000 shillings, I think, for domestic workers, and we have others going up to 8,000. So how much you pay them is negotiable. It also depends on the environment, but do not squander so much, because you'd also not like to be mishandled at your work. You would not like to be overworked and be underpaid. So get a reasonable amount that you can pay your worker. And the other question is, how often do you review your salary? Because at the corporate workplace, it is expected, if a company makes profit at the end of the year, then the salaries will be reviewed depending on your performance. So it is almost guaranteed, because if a company is not making profits, then they close down. Most of the time they make profit, so you are guaranteed of a salary increment. If your salary is increased, do you increase your house manager's salary? I would like us as career women, me being one of them, to take up that challenge, that whenever your salary is increased, you also increase your domestic manager's salary. Even if it's with very little amount, even if it is 50 bob, do that justice. Do not overwork them, because in the office it is kind of well set up, because you have to work from 8 to 5, from 9 to 6, or from whatever the hours are, so you can manage your work well. But for people who work in the houses, it is hard to quantify the amount of time they are going to work, because if you have a small child, they may cry the whole afternoon. How are you going to quantify that? The bus may delay. If the school bus delays for 1 hour or for 30 minutes, should your house help go back to the house because her working hours of waiting for the baby from school have been exhausted? So they may not really work like that. And do you give her leave days? In the office, we are given 21 resting days, no interruption. Some people are very mean. They don't give their domestic workers off days. And you realize, even during Christmas holidays, they want to carry along their house managers to their villages. Or they want to release them on that 25th and 26th, then they're expected to be back on 27th. Yet, you as a career woman at your place of work, you're given maybe 2 weeks. That Christmas period, maybe from 23rd, you will resume on 7th. Or at times, you're given the leeway to take your leave days, or even to work half days, or even to work as skeleton staff. So can we extend this grace? I believe discussion around house helps and or nannies or the domestic managers is not well taken, especially in the African setup. We mostly don't see them like they're normal human beings, like us career women, because probably we are more learned, we understand things better, we feel like the society owes us a good treatment, but we are not supposed to give the good treatment in return to people who might be less educated, which is wrong. I think we can even say it's a curse. Whenever you're being hired, there are minimum qualifications for a particular job. But in the domestic setting, the qualifications might be hard to identify, because unless you see someone raising a child, it's hard for someone to tell you, I've raised 3 kids. You don't know the experience. Unless someone cooks food for you, it's hard to say he's a good cook. So often we usually hire on merit, on trial and error basis. You might find someone who is so good with the children, but she's not good in cleaning, she's not good at cooking. She's so good with cleaning or cooking, but very poor with children. So when you're hiring, what are some of the things you need to consider? It all depends from house to house, because there is a house where they prefer takeaways, or we have some husbands who cannot allow house managers to cook for them. Their food and their clothes have to be done by their wives. Anyway, that is the old outdated people, and for those who mostly who have married people who are not learned and they are not working. Uh, so mostly these house managers, you'll find we train them on the job. You'll tell them Google something on YouTube so that you cook. I like it when our food here, if you have to cook ugali, then you cannot cook ugali with cabbages. Whenever we cook ugali, we cook greens. We may cook meat or not, but never cook ugali and cabbages. If we are cooking rice, this is how we prepare it. So it varies from house to house. We do not have a specific guideline or a manual that guides how house help should be treated. Another thing is permanent employees are entitled to a 3 month maternity leave. You find that whenever our house managers get pregnant, we dismiss them. And for obvious reason that we cannot survive without a house help, but we do not give them the leeway of go for 3 months, then you'll come back. Whenever some majority you realize they are pregnant, you dismiss them. Which I feel is a little bit unfair, because this is life. And so just because someone is working in your house doesn't mean they're not supposed to fulfill other rites of passage in this life. So it would be fair if you could release them for a short time. And if they can be able to come on day basis, maybe after 1 month or 1.5 months, you should allow them that. Although again, it is hard to find good house helps. You may allow a day scholar, then she comes and carries sugar and food from your house. So managing them can also be quite tricky. And also treat them with grace, because we normally say there's discrimination at work, mostly because someone is allowed to do this and that, and you feel you're oppressed in a way because you don't have the right to do that one thing. Or maybe you are left out in organizing some company events or attending some functions. Yet in the house, we are very, as learned friends, we are very good at discriminating our house managers. This is not my experience, but I've had people complain. I've even watched people complain about how people mistreat their house helps. Where if I buy milk, packed milk in this house, or yogurt, these are for my children. For you, just drink water or drink tea. If we buy meat, then you're not supposed to eat meat. Eat the vegetables alone. If we are having our supper, then you go eat in the kitchen. Don't join us in the dining area because you're not part of our family. I believe these are human beings, and doing such kind of acts is quite inhuman. It's discrimination of the highest order, and it is oppressive or slavery to some extent. You cannot be mistreating someone with food, yet you've entrusted this person with a bigger role like taking care of your children. It is so stress-free to have someone who you don't have to worry about how is my baby, is my baby safe? So you entrust them with your human being, but you cannot entrust them with sharing a dining table in the evening for 30 minutes. Or you do not want them to eat food as you watch, yet you are incurring cost of securing your house day in day out. Because one day they may wake up and decide to wash you away. They go with your everything because they've mastered this is the time you leave and this is the time you come back. So if someone wanted to do anything malicious in that house, then they would definitely do it. So let's stop discriminating our house managers. I'm advocating about the nannies because that is what I know. I do not have a garden boy. I do not have a soldier. It's a shared service. But for nannies, at least I have first-hand experience. So do not discriminate. Don't talk of discrimination at work. yet you're discriminating your person in the house. Also, you cannot be seeking respect at work, and in the house, you do not respect the person you've employed. You talk to them like children. You even allow your babies to tell them bad words. You will not let the house manager punish your child, even if the child is rude to him or her. Okay, most of the nannies are women. So you do not let your child be punished. You want to see your children exploit this nanny, giving him or her unnecessary jobs. So that is very, very unfair. Let us practice what we learn in the office, in the house. Something else I'd like us domestic employers to challenge ourselves on is medical cover. If you have a domestic package policy, then there's a section for insurance for employees. That is section D of the domestic package policy or home insurance. That is WIBA. WIBA is Work Injury Benefits Act. You can take up a home insurance policy, then you add your employee. It will only cost you 500 shillings or 1,000 shillings depending with the insurance company you are in. So any injury that your domestic manager may encounter while in the house is well catered for by the home insurance policy. So I urge all of you to buy. You cannot afford to employ a house manager who you're paying over 5,000, then fail to afford a home insurance that costs little money. It can't go to 10,000 if you do not own a house. Most people in Nairobi, the largest percentage don't even own houses. So the way you feel so good knowing that from my salary I'm deducted 200 shillings or 2,000, depending again with your limit, for funeral, for medical, and I can afford to go to hospital without paying a shilling. Extend the same grace to your employee. Maybe from his or her salary, deduct 500 shillings, pay for them NHIF, because most of these people are not enlightened. So paying for him or her NHIF will go a long way in times of a crisis. Okay, we normally pray that disease don't come, but if they come and you've employed someone, then it will take a toll on you because you will even have to contribute. And it only goes for 12. You can choose to deduct from their salary or you choose to pay it from your pocket. Anyway, it's only 500 shillings and you are entrusting this person with a lot in your house, a lot about your children. So I really, really advocate we pay insurance or we enlighten the domestic managers to be paying NHIF because it helps when it comes to paying medical bills. Medical bills can be very draining, and most people really don't know about this NHIF, or they do not know about the WIBA element on the home insurance policy. Learned women can be very toxic. They can be talking so badly to their domestic managers, yet that is not how they would speak to their bosses in the office. So treat others the way you would want to be treated. Don't complain of a bad boss in the office, yet you are a bad boss in the house. Also, give your domestic manager her job description. Let us know where do we draw the line. For example, can she wash my innerwears? Can she attend my school meetings for the baby? That is not her role. I didn't hire her to do that. If I am going for dunda or a party for the entire night and I have a small kid, and we usually know I'm in the house by 8 p.m. and I take care of my child, then I know this day I'm not coming back. That is overtime. We should not force it on our domestic managers. At least have the courtesy to ask whether they can sit in for you or at least pay them some overtime. If it's their day off, I hear it's supposed to be 48 hours, but due to the economy in this country, you cannot afford to give someone 48 hours because majority of the working women will either work Monday to Friday and at times work Saturdays, half days, or even up to evening. So the only day you're free is on Sunday, and that is the only day you can also be able to release. If Sunday is an off day for your domestic person. Do not leave dirty utensils for her to come wash in the evening. Do not let her come cook for you because it's an off day for her. Just like your employer wouldn't call you on a Sunday to go work. Let us draw lines. Let us have clear boundaries. If someone is going on off, let them be off. If they are late to come back, you need to also understand. And you've got to put yourself in a manner that calls for respect. If they're supposed to come back at 6, even as whoever might be watching this video and is a house help, come back at 6. We also experience a lot of pressure in the office. You're supposed to report at this time and leave at this time, regardless of traffic, regardless of things you might be going through in your home. And these domestic managers are usually not hired in a professional way. You can hire and fire anytime. So before you dismiss someone, have the courtesy of holding a discussion and giving them second chances. Even at the work, we are usually given warning letters if you found to be doing something wrong, or if your performance is below par, you are put on PIP. Yeah, PIP, to prove that you can perform. So do not just dismiss your house help because you realize one day she cannot cook omena. And this house help is a Kikuyu. So there's no way she will even know how to cook omena. It's upon you to teach her or to give her a second chance if she ironed your clothes wrongly or your clothes were not properly cleaned. Don't just dismiss someone out of emotions, because as women, we are very emotional. We get angry very quickly. And because we are the bosses with the right to hire and fire at any given time, yet we wouldn't want that done to us by our bosses. We would like them to dismiss us in protocol. Like they even give us a 1 month notice. So can you also give your house help maybe 2 chances or 3 chances? If they cannot perform well, after you've given them other chances to improve, then you give them like a 1 week notice before you release them. Don't just wake up and tell someone, how much do I owe you? I owe you 300 shillings for the one day you've worked. So take and go. That one is wrong. I think when God created women, they were supposed to be nurturers, taking care of children at home, cooking and washing them. Not going out here pursuing careers, pushing for those big positions of CEOs, COOs, and directors, pushing for those degrees and PhDs or even masters. You'll find a working woman with a 2-year-old. After working, maybe after 5, they are running to class, so that by 8, they have finished the class. Then you realize you don't even have time for your children. So these house helps are your stepmothers. In fact, most children know the house helps better than they know their mothers. Small babies will cry when the nanny is leaving, and they may not cry when the mother is leaving, simply because the house help spends more time than the mother. So we cannot really ignore the value the house managers play in our lives as career women. Because if I'm pursuing a degree and my child is well taken care of in the house, then I owe that degree to my house manager as much as I'm paying her. Let us also pay them good money. We are times say, they are eating in my house, they are sleeping in my house. So that salary, they've actually got nothing to do with that money. But trust me, on one day, if you decide to do the work of a house help, you cannot manage, or we can still manage. Yeah, we have the energy. We have 2 hands and 2 legs. We can manage to do that job. We can manage to raise the children and make the home clean and cook properly without pursuing the career. So if you've chosen the career path, then having a domestic manager it's a mandatory requirement. You cannot survive. Who even wants to be stressed when going to work? Especially when you have small children. When the children are big, yeah, you can survive without. But if you still building yourself up, you're a young couple or a young family or a young mother, then the house help plays a critical role. If saa zingine wanaweza kuharibia siku, ama mtu amke akwambia amechoka na wewe and hujui ufanye nini siku 2 siku 3 kabla you get a new one. Personally, although I'm not very perfect, I really try as much as possible to be fair to my employee, because what you do in this world comes back to you. So I am conscious that if I mistreat her, I'm also likely to be mistreated by my boss. What I wouldn't want my boss to do for me, I also wouldn't want to do it to another person. And where I feel like I'm oppressed at the workplace, I want to try as much as possible not to oppress the person who they are more valuable than you can imagine someone taking care of your children. You can imagine someone cooking for you. Like literally you being babied, although you're paying for it. Okay, we pay for the convenience. And for the housewives, I would like you to let me know your experience. How is it? Would you rather hustle with degrees and careers and big titles? Okay, this one is for married men. If you're a single mother, can you work? Can you go for those big titles? Because you have to provide at the end of the day. And when your children are big, it won't matter. They'll just want to have a good lifestyle. So you have to pull up your socks. You have to work and work. But again, in the midst of working, do not neglect your motherly duties to your house managers because you're paying them. I think that is it about the domestic managers. I don't know what I've left out. Let me know in the comment section of anything you feel I would have spoken about or any improvement. And you can also share your experience as a housewife or as a working mommy with or without a nanny. How has it been for you? Creating this video felt so good. It's a talk I've been wanting to share for a while. I think my next video will be about my experience with the domestic managers. So until next time, please like the video, share and subscribe. Adios.